Welcome to Sleepover Cinema, where we analyze the films that created the collective unconscious of those who immediately understood every single reference in the Ariana Grande Thank You Next video. I'm Hannah Leach.
And I'm Audrey Leach. We are the sister filmmaking duo, also known as Two Pink Pictures, and we have not stopped thinking about these movies since we first saw them.
We're going to explore the good, the bad, and the nonsensical of the movies that first inspired our love for film in an attempt to answer the age-old question, are these movies actually good? And at the end of the day, do we care if they are?
Today, we are talking about 2004's 13 Going on 30, starring Jennifer Garner. What'd I tell you? I get Jennifer Garner and Julia Roberts confused to a fault.
It's like a different era, kind of, though.
I know.
Jenna made a wish
I hate being 13. I just want to be grown up.
and went from 13 to 30 overnight.
Mom?
Hey, sweet Bob.
You're naked.
Well, not yet.
Something really freaky is happening here. I slept in an apartment I've never seen before. There was a naked man in my shower and I saw his... Oh, gross.
Now everyone wants her.
Repeat after me. I am Jenna Rank, Big Time Magazine editor.
I am? The red one? Those, for sure. That one.
Love, knew it. Genius.
But no one knows her secret.
I'm 13!
Jenna, if you're gonna start lying about your age, I'd go with 27.
Man, it's me!
Jenna, I haven't seen you since high school. Why are you here?
Yesterday was my 13th birthday. And today, I woke up and I'm this. There's something really weird going on. I like your dress. It's because I've got these incredible boobs to fill it out. I'm at a party. It's so cool. Maddie, it's Thriller!
Revolution Studios presents the story of a woman who's living the life she always dreamed of. Jennifer Garner is 13 going on 30.
So obviously today is a very special occasion here on the pod because we are not using Zoom.
No.
We are here in the flesh in person. If you're watching the YouTube version, you are seeing... Audrey just reached across and clutched me. You can see that we are, in fact, in my living room with a concepted setup here. Shout out to our interim production director, Josh Perlman Hall, for the assist here. But yeah, Audrey's in Ohio, so here we are.
We exist in the same dimension.
Yeah, and we're not precisely in hallway studios the way that we used to be. Now we are
Thank
just...
God.
Yeah, we decided to not sweat today.
As much.
We will still sweat.
Still hot.
There's still no AC.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's okay. So we're talking about a very significant movie today in the world of the canon of the movies that we like to talk about on Sleepover Cinema. And we have many facts and things to discuss surrounding this movie.
Surely.
But before we get into that, get your emotional security water bottle or whatever and do a cheers with us.
We have these really intricate pink chalices. If you're just listening, like...
Yes. And we are...
You should know.
We're having a little Sunday night... having a little drinking discussion here. That was the sound of plastic clinking, in case you could hear that. All right. Are we ready to get into the facts here?
Never been more ready in my life.
All right. So 13 Going on 30 was released in theaters on April 23rd, 2004. A very big year for our canon, and we will come back to that later on during the gossip section. This movie was directed by Gary Winnick, who passed away in 2011 due to circumstances I am not familiar with because I got these notes together rather quickly today. But he, in our world, he was known for directing the live-action Charlotte's Web, Bride Wars, and Letters to Juliet, which I've never seen, but have you seen that?
I think I did see it. I think I randomly saw it in... It might have been middle school.
It came out in 2009, so middle school would
So
make
yeah,
sense.
I think I did see it. I think my one friend was really ready
Yeah.
for it.
Amanda
when I saw it.
Seyfried was in it.
Yeah.
So that's a moment. Actually, I think I might have seen that movie.
And I immediately forgot everything, obviously, but like that could be in this genre for sure.
It could.
Yeah.
We'll file that away under like the 3rd to 4th string of movies that we will cover on this show. So, okay, Gary directed this movie. The movie was produced and written by a husband-wife duo by the names of Josh Goldsmith and Kathy Yuspa. They were known primarily around this time for running King of Queens. They were the showrunners of that show, which it took me so long to understand like what that title meant because I didn't know that Queens was a place until like college.
Isn't that Leah Remini?
I think so. Yeah.
I think it is.
Yeah. So they ran that show. They also worked on Till Death and the Mighty Ducks TV show. So good for them.
Interesting.
And they also wrote the movie What Men Want. Have you seen that movie? Or is that a show? I think it's a movie.
It doesn't sound like something I would watch.
Because we're not interested in What Men Want.
Not interested.
It's true. We're not interested in What Men Want. Okay. So,
like, who hears that name and is like...
It's like me, pick me.
Yes.
You know, there are people out there that are like that.
Right. I know that. And, like, we've all probably fallen victim to some sort of, I don't know, YouTube recommended video in the past.
Oh, my God, yes.
That's, like, along those lines.
Do you ever watch Mrs. Midwest?
No, but I don't watch, but I know exactly who that is.
Okay, I fell down that rabbit hole for a while, and I was never like, let me become a traditional homemaking wife. But
it's just for the entertainment value.
It's really entertaining.
How
it's like a parallel universe,
right?
Yeah. But she did have one thing that I liked the idea of.
What?
Which is she had this thing where she was like, every night you should put your kitchen to bed. Meaning, like, make sure, like, your dishes are done and shit.
Okay, that's just, like, human being stuff.
Okay, yeah, but I don't have a dishwasher, so it's, like, a whole thing
Neither
to
do
have
I.
everything done. Okay, so you know what it means then.
Yes, I do.
The level of struggle that is. So, okay, the one thing I want to take away from Mrs. Midwest is the ability to put my kitchen to bed in the evening.
It's so weird to
I know,
say.
I know. Anyway, let's get into this plot synopsis.
Yes.
We're passing a laptop back and forth for our notes.
Let's get into it. All right, here's the plot synopsis. A girl who's sick of the social structures of junior high is transformed into a grown-up overnight. In this feel-good fairy tale, teenager Jenna wants a boyfriend, and when she's unable to find one, she fantasizes about being a well-adjusted adult. Suddenly, her secret desire becomes a reality, and she is transformed into a 30-year-old. But adulthood, with its own set of male-female challenges, isn't as easy as it looks. Male-female challenges.
When I put that one in there, I'm like, she's gonna love that. Male-female challenges. I don't really know what that means.
I think they were just trying to, like, use fancy wording somehow, and it's like, that wasn't it.
Like, romantic struggles or something.
Exactly. And then taglines, we have 2. The first one is, for some, 13 feels like it was just yesterday. For Jenna, it was.
That's pretty good.
Dun, dun, dun. That is good.
I liked that one.
And then the second one is the generic marketing one. A comedy for the kid in all of us. Not true. It's not true.
Why is it not true?
I just don't think everybody would
not a
like
film
this
for
movie.
everyone?
Yeah. I mean, okay. I don't know. I think as far as, you know, if we're talking about like Legally Blonde, 13 Going on 30, Mean Girls, like the list.
Yes.
The list.
Yes.
I do think 13 Going on 30 is more inclusive than other movies.
Yes, I agree.
So maybe they have a point here.
Maybe.
We're going to find out.
We will find out. That is absolutely true. Okay, so now we're going to get into the cast. And I asked Audrey her opinion on this as I was compiling everything, because I was like, are there like 3 characters in this movie, or am I just remembering wrong? And she confirmed that there are essentially 3 characters.
When you really come down to it.
Yeah. So, of course, we have not Julia Roberts, but Jennifer Garner as Jenna Rink in this movie. Really like the crown jewel of the entire affair. And for us, sort of what she's best known for, well, for obviously 13 Going on 30 is like one of the big ones, but she was also the like wife, mom in Juno.
Yeah.
Which, do you remember who the husband was in that movie. I feel like it was someone like Paul Rudd or Mark Ruffalo, but it wasn't.
Do you want me to look it up?
Yeah, I'm curious. I would actually love to rewatch Juno.
Yeah,
that
Juno
would be
is a good one.
That would be a good one.
Jason Bateman.
Oh, yeah, okay, we were pretty close.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good cast.
Honestly, watching that again now as not teenagers would be really interesting. We should do that.
Yeah. Would you guys be interested in Juno? Because it is a little bit... It's era-wise, it's right.
It actually came out the same year as this movie. Yeah, I feel
but
like...
it's more indie. It's a more indie vibe than we usually go
but
for.
I feel like it's the same thing as like a Napoleon Dynamite, but like more like woman targeted sort of.
Yeah.
Shit. Now I really want to rewatch that. Okay. Juno has now been added to the mental list. So, okay, we have that. And then next up we have Mark Ruffalo as Matt Flamhalf, I guess is his character's last name. He's also very beloved in this movie, but other than that, he is the Hulk in the Avengers. Weird casting choice.
I could not tell you that if someone put a gun to my head.
Yeah, I think I
Seriously.
knew that deep down somewhere inside, but I didn't really know until I was compiling it.
Couldn't tell you.
Yeah. He was in The Kids Are All Right, which I don't really know why people like that movie.
I had to watch that in film school.
I think I did too.
Yeah. It was, I think it was for writing. That was like the reason for watching.
Yeah.
Yeah, people love that
movie. It's just
movie.
like white people in a house.
Yeah, and lesbians. So they're like, ooh.
Oh yeah, I think. Oh yeah,
It's
isn't
true.
it that it's like a lesbian couple and then like the ex-husband
And
or
the
something?
kids that are all right.
It seems like they're all right.
They were. It turns out.
You would never know from the title.
You know, for a second, we thought they weren't. But then they kind of were.
All right. He was also in The Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Not The Eternal Sunshine. Just Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. Next, we have Judy Greer as Lucy Wyman, who is Jenna's best friend. She was in Jurassic World in 2015. She was also like a BFF role in 27 Dresses, which came out the same year as this movie. So she had her niche, you know. At least she had that going for her. And
I'd be happy with that.
Yeah. She was in Ant-Man.
Okay, that's off, but all right.
It was after this era. And then lastly, I wasn't going to include this person, but Audrey told me that I should because she's like relevant on TikTok, I guess.
Yeah.
We have Krista B. Allen, who plays young Jenna in the first part of the movie. Mm-hmm. She was on the TV show Revenge, and she's in this movie, and she has some other credits that are mostly like films or like small things. And
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think her acting career is necessarily that big, but yeah, for some reason, I see her on my For You page all the time, and people just like eat it up.
I mean, it's the same thing like with Rivka.
Yeah, they're so here, which I get. Obviously, I fall victim to this all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, and now I feel like she kind of just has like an influencer thing going on.
Yeah.
Like, aside from that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so that's our cast. I know it's not a lot, and I'm sure that after we
We're gonna think.
after we rewatch it, we'll be like, oh shit, we should have included more people, because we are actually going to break in the middle and watch the movie tonight, which is really ambitious considering that it's already 9:36 p.m.
This is a genuine episode.
This is like a vintage. This is like a season 1 style episode,
Yeah.
basically. But anyway, Audrey, take us through these numbers.
All right. Taking you to school.
Please do.
So the budget for 13 Going on 30 was $37 million. Box office opening weekend was $21,054,238. So, okay, that's pretty good. I think that at that point they'd be like, all right, nice. Like, we're definitely going to make our money back. The overall worldwide gross was $97,658,712. I would say they're doing all right.
Yes, the kids are all right.
The kids are all right. That's going to be a thing from now on. The kids are financially sound.
The kids are making back their investment.
Yes.
Times 4 or whatever.
Yes. And as for critical opinions, there is a 65% critic score on Rotten Tomatoes. Not bad.
Pretty good.
not bad for what we're used to.
Yes.
And the critical consensus is, although the plot leaves a lot to be desired, 13 Going on 30 will tug at your inner teenager's heartstrings, thanks in large part to a dazzling performance from Jennifer Garner. Absolutely accurate.
Yes.
Kind of like how sometimes you'll watch a Lindsay Lohan movie and you're like, the only thing holding that together is Lindsay.
Yes.
Kind of similar.
Like, get a clue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bare skeleton,
Yes.
but they're making up most of it.
Yes.
And then we've got 2 critic opinions here. The first one is from Dalton Ross of Entertainment Weekly. He says, yes, it's just a female version of Big, and yes, the story is fairly disposable, but gosh, if Garner doesn't somehow pull it off.
I know. But I had never realized that it's the same thing as Big, but it is the same thing as Big.
I watched Big for the first time a few months ago.
It's good.
Yeah, it is good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I really liked the empty apartment. I don't know.
I haven't seen it in a really long time.
He buys an apartment in the city, but he doesn't have furniture other than little boy furniture.
Oh my
so he's got a
God.
trampoline in this Soho loft apartment. It's completely empty. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
And then our second opinion is from Keith Phipps of AV Club. He says, apart from the moment where Garner unselfconsciously flirts with a 13-year-old boy, the film is pretty much devoid of comic spark, and though it seems to have sweet intentions, it keeps sending mixed messages.
I mean, I don't even know if I agree with this man. I just wanted to get some variety in here,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, that's certainly true. And the same thing with Big. I mean, Big gets really uncomfortable.
I haven't seen it in so long that I don't even know.
Yeah, because there's this older woman who is in a relationship with adult Tom Hanks, but you know that on the inside he's a child.
Right.
So it's super questionable.
Yeah.
And then there was a 75% audience score, so 10% higher than the critic score, and some quotes from the people, the
Rotten Tomatoes users.
Yeah, the Rotten Tomatoes users. JM on Rotten Tomatoes. Jennifer...
Go ahead. I have a thought on this one.
Okay. Jennifer Garner is just not a very good actress. Period. Full stop. They should have made Judy Greer the lead, and then this movie would have been funny and charming.
I just want to imagine that it's Judy Greer writing this review, logging on anonymously and writing that.
She's like, yeah, I should have gotten the lead.
Yeah.
And the second quote is, yep, good movie. It's suitable to watch with your family.
That's it. And then there's one more.
And then this really poorly written one that just says, too inappropriate. It says the F word.
But it's all spelled wrong.
It's all spelled incorrectly.
Yes. So
That's my favorite take.
Yeah. Me too.
That's amazing.
Yes, I fully agree. Inappropriate is spelled INAPROPREATE.
Inappropriate.
Inappropriate. Shout out to that person. Okay. So normally we would do the gossip section right now. However, we have encountered a lot of 2004 in this season. So I figured that instead of talking about the pop culture of the time, I just made a list of all the other movies that came out in 2004 that are relevant to our show. So New York Minute, Sleepover, The Girl Next Door, Raise Your Voice, Mean Girls, White Chicks.
Keep 'em coming.
And the SpongeBob movie. And Princess and the Pauper. So basically, it was a big year. Mean Girls came out 1 week.
Ella Enchanted.
Oh, yeah, and Ella Enchanted.
Is that right?
Yeah. Mean Girls came out 1 week after this movie, I'm pretty sure.
I think there's even more than that. It's insane.
Yeah, it was a very good year.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
There was something in the air.
People, just the audience and the creators were there for a rom-com / teen movie golden era. And this was the peak of it, and then it probably fizzled out with Twilight. That was probably the last thing that was really big. Mm-hmm. And that wasn't an original thing for teens. It was a book, you know. It went from this sort of shit into the Hunger Games, Twilight.
That's what I was
Harry
gonna
Potter
say.
got bigger.
Yeah.
Because in 2004 the third Harry Potter came out. So
And that was before things got were necessarily like romantic interests.
Right,
Like,
right. It was like still
babies.
because they were still like kids. Like the third movie is when they turned into like teenagers.
Yeah.
So it was just a
What a
moment.
moment.
It was a moment. So with that in mind, Audrey, what things do you remember about this movie? When's the last time you watched it? When was the first time you saw it? What are your thoughts?
I think I saw it for the first time kind of late in the game. Like
That's how I felt too.
Definitely not before 2010.
Mm-hmm.
So probably somewhere in high school. That's my guess. So 2012 to 2015, somewhere in there. And then, I probably saw it at like a sleepover or some kind of gathering like that. And I felt like it's not like a classic to me the way I know it is for other people, which like hurts me a little bit.
Yeah.
It's just because I didn't watch it early enough. Like I already had those movies. Like they were solidified.
We're gesturing to the Aquamarine poster in between us right now.
But I enjoyed it and like it's cute.
Yes. Yeah. I basically felt or feel the exact same way as you. So I feel like I saw it at like a basement gathering, like mid high school. And I feel like Jennifer Garner's performance is like really like frantic, which makes sense for what it is. But yeah, literally every single thing you said, same. Like, I know it's a classic for people. We just missed this one somehow. And it makes me wonder if it's rated PG-13, because maybe that's why we missed it, because we didn't really watch PG-13 movies for a while.
I definitely watched them younger than you just because I was younger than you.
Yeah.
So like you know how that works with older siblings.
Yes.
But yeah. But like don't let that discourage you. Like we want to love, like we want to bring it to you.
Yes,
and
yes, yes.
it's also good because we don't have it memorized. And so we're actually going to have more like
some fresh takes. Like we're not just going to be like regurgitating like the BuzzFeed lists, hopefully. That are
if we
out
are,
there.
it's not on purpose.
Yeah, we're definitely not doing it on purpose. It feels like we got through this weirdly fast, but I'm sure that we'll have a lot to say.
Yeah.
So let's go watch this movie.
Yeah, let's go watch it. It's on a lot of things. It's on HBO Max. I think it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
So lots of opportunities.
But it might require like a premium, whatever the hell.
Yeah.
So we'll find out. But we will be back in approximately
a tight 90
minutes, real life, and maybe
a few
20 seconds podcast time. So
maybe a few glasses deep.
We're about 1/2 glass deep currently.
We've been talking.
Yeah. We will be back. Hope you enjoyed the film. We cannot wait to share our takeaways with you. Well, people, we've made it back. It's time for some late night discourse. It's 11:30 p.m. and that's okay. We drank almost an entire bottle of wine, but in a chill, cool way, not in a we are getting wasted way.
It was not
we had
aggressive.
Cheez-Its also, you know.
Some carbs, soak it up.
Mix it in. I mean, liquid carbs plus alcohol plus carbs.
Yeah, liquid carbs and solid carbs.
If we were in one of these movies, they'd be like, "Oh, honey, you have to get your life together." They'd be like, "That is not what it means to be 30, flirty, and thriving."
No, they'd be like,
"Fat girls can't be happy.
help yourself." Anyway. You suck.
Okay, so let's start with the good stuff.
Yeah.
And some of my good stuff, I'm going to describe my good category as like compliments category. Do you want me to start?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first and foremost, the likeness between young Jenna and old Jenna is stellar. So good job casting people. I thought that was very like enjoyable.
Same for her best friend. I thought that was also very good. They did a good job.
Maddie, a bit more of a reach, but that's okay. That's okay for the kind of movie that it is.
And also, like, there are a lot of people where how they look at 13 and how they look at 30, it's like it looks like a different person.
Yeah, and I think for someone like Maddie, it would make sense.
Yeah, I think that's what they were thinking as well.
Yeah. I have thoughts on that, but we'll come back to that later.
That.
You say some of your good things because, actually, no. I thought that this was probably the best example that we've seen so far of a movie that is set in New York that actually utilizes it the right way. Like, I thought that all of their on-location stuff was worth being on location, whereas, like, in New York Minute, it's like you could have been anywhere and it would have been the same thing. Like, good use of street signs, good use of talking about directions. Like, it was worth being there.
Yeah. It used its location.
Yeah, like the budget did not go to waste.
And not in a way that's just like downright offensive the whole time. That's New York Minute.
Right. I have a lot of other good things, but they just get more specific from here. So why don't you do some of your general good things?
So the Mean Girls, the group of Mean Girls, in the 80s scenes are so elite now. A lot of them are huge actresses. And I just think that's funny. Ashley Benson was in there. I'm pretty sure Brie Larson was in there.
I still don't know who Brie Larson really is.
There's just a bunch of them. Also in the Once Jenna is 30, that little ginger girl that she's friends with is in Secret Life of the American Teenager.
Yes, she is.
In the 80s scene, the blonde boy is in Ned's Declassified. That was fun.
Yes.
Yes.
It
caused some kind of dissonance in my brain though, because I didn't see this movie in like 2004 or whatever. It like somehow in my mind seemed like it was earlier than that. Like maybe it was a 90s movie or something. And then so the fact that like people from our youth, like things that we watched as children, it's just weird. It's a weird timing thing.
Yes. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. The belligerent soundtrack,
chaotic good is what you're saying.
Certainly something to be appreciated, although it's like, did you really need to use 2.5 minutes of Vienna?
Right.
Like that's so on the nose too.
Yeah.
But when I Want to Dance with Somebody came on,
it was a moment for us.
We were harmonizing. We were pleased.
It's true.
We were very easily pleased. Yes. By that.
Yeah, they spared absolutely no expense with this.
Thriller.
Thriller, choreography, and song, the whole thing, multiple times.
Yeah.
It's basically like the running motif of the movie is Thriller, which is just really ambitious. And we were wondering how they were able to pull that off. We weren't there.
Who approved this?
Yeah.
Were they friends with Michael Jackson? Like
Michael Jackson. Yeah.
Do I need to specify?
I have a lot of really specific things that I enjoyed. One of them is when Jenna shows up to Maddie's house and she's like, I don't know what's going on, blah, 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 blah. And Maddie's like, are you on drugs? Are you high? Are you smoking pot? Are you in a K-hole? When he said K-hole, I thought that was funny. So that's something very specific that I enjoyed. I also loved that the editor of Sparkle magazine looked like a weird, like, Bernadette Peters impersonator.
Yeah.
We both, the second she came on screen, we were like, is that Bernadette? And it wasn't. But we wanted it to be.
And you know what thought I also had about the Poise editor? I thought he was like a knockoff Tim Curry.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
He's a combination. Okay. This is a reach. Take Tim Curry plus the angry little person from Elf. Who's like, call me an elf one more time.
Yeah.
That guy. Take those two people.
Yep.
And you get the editor of Poise.
Yeah, he did give me Tim Curry though.
Yes.
He
also gave me that. Yeah. He has that eyelid thing going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. I absolutely loved the scene. Like 2/3 of the way through when Jenna's like himbo boyfriend is trying to do like the striptease, we were both like heavily enjoying
which
that
is
scene.
funny because it's not something we would normally find funny.
No,
like
not at all.
Not something that would normally tickle us at all.
Yeah.
But it was just the level of goofy.
It was really goofy.
And
The posing he was doing was very like weird, like strongman of the 1910s or something.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny.
And Jennifer Garner was just doing a good job in that scene.
She deserves a field of flowers. Yeah, like she was like, I like how we predicted in the first half. Without her, this whole thing would have absolutely collapsed basically within the first 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But she's so like borderline improv troupe level committed to her character that you never question it. Even when there's whole scenes where her best friend is like, I'm going to tell you exactly what you're doing. This is your life. And you're never like, oh, this screenplay is shit. Because Jennifer's like distracting with how good she is, basically.
Yeah, whenever those moments would happen, I'm always like, thank you for that information. Like, remind yourself that you are the blank of Poise magazine. It's like, cool. But yeah, you get over it really fast.
Yeah, because she's like reacting as fuck to every single thing that happens.
Mm-hmm. Oh, another small detail, the Lisa Frank inclusion.
Very good.
On Jenna's desk, she's got all this Lisa Frank merch.
Yes.
That was fun. And I recognized one of the folders from my own youth.
Yes. I also have to say, in all of the reviews that I read before we did the episode, everyone was like, it's predictable, this movie's predictable, the screenplay is bad. But like, when Jenna ended up being the person who was leaking all of the information to Sparkle, like, I was shook. Like, I did not expect that.
Yeah. And it's kind of not even the most overt. Like, you actually have to be paying attention to understand what's going on there.
Yes.
Definitely, I don't think I absorbed that the first time I ever saw it.
Yes.
I was probably, like, too busy, like, eating Skittles and drinking Fanta.
Going crazy. Let's Get Crazy by Hannah Montana plays in the background. Okay.
That's a reference to our Hannah Montana episode if you did
That was the best part of the episode, in my opinion. All right. Are we ready to move on to bad?
I mean,
my bad category is not all bad, exactly.
I have like 3 more small
Go for it.
One being that the place where Jenna's apartment is right across the street from a church that I've gone to and we've gone to multiple times.
Yes.
And that church shows up in other movies. It's in Lady Bird. So whenever it's in a movie, I'm just like...
You're like, oh, this is like just due north of NYU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like cute.
Yeah.
The shrimp cocktail looked delicious.
Oh my God. Yes.
We were like, shout out to me because...
Audrey will fuck up a shrimp cocktail.
I will devour it in 15 minutes.
Yeah, actually, when we saw that, I thought to myself, I should text Mom and tell her to prepare a shrimp cocktail for your doc screening.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, our parents are hosting a doc screening for the film that Audrey made and I helped with, like a week from now. And
it's very small.
Oh, it's intimate.
It's very small.
It's like an acoustic sesh with our neighbors, but it'll be very fun and cute. And I feel like you deserve a shrimp cocktail for all that.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
And then finally, it occurred to me at one point when Jenna decided that she was also going to make her own presentation for the redesign of Poise.
Yes.
That she was a literal girl boss.
She is.
Because she's a girl.
And a boss.
Anyway, moving on.
Anyway. Okay. So my bad is not really all definitively bad. It's just things that I took issue with, I guess. Should I start?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So these are in chronological order. I'm just going to run through them. And since there's so many, I'm going to read the sentence. And if you feel the need to comment, please do. Okay. And if not, I will just let the statement hang there.
Okay.
First of all, 6 chicks. That's a lot of chicks in the 6 chicks.
Yeah.
That's a big
for clique. Like a popular girl group.
Yes.
Girl group. Like, I mean, girl clique.
It's like Spice Girls plus 1.
It's too many.
It's too many. Literally name one girl group with 6 members. It cuts off at 5.
Always.
Yeah, so okay. I noted that. I felt like Jenna gets away with a shocking amount under the guise of being hungover on that first day.
Yeah. It's like, no, that's going to get you sent to counseling. Like, that's going to get you
Yeah.
at least to HR.
That's what I was about to say.
At least.
Yeah.
In a corporate setting like that.
Also, like, if you're, like, borderline, like, manic dissociating the way she is, like...
Yeah. The way they would perceive
Yeah,
her.
like, that's not being hungover.
No.
That's something else.
Like, this is... You don't forget who you are
This is
when
deeper than that.
when you're hungover.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, and then I had this thought. Was she on Drag Race recently?
Jennifer Garner?
Yes.
No.
Who were like the phone in?
Oh,
people? It was
Anne Hathaway,
Anne
Scarlett
Hathaway.
Johansson.
Was that it?
I think so. I see why you thought.
I think that Scarlett Johansson and Jennifer Gardner are like vaguely in the same category in my mind, even though they're not the same.
Not actually.
They're not the same.
But yeah, I could see that.
Okay. Audrey and I were remarking on this, but when Poise throws the flop party, we were both like, yeah, who could possibly blame the populace for reacting this way when it's Poise and Bloomingdale's girls' night out party? Like, can you imagine anything more like tacky than that on like a Tuesday?
On like a
Like, no.
in this like weird looking ballroom.
Weird, like, Enchanted ass. Like,
Yeah.
It reminded me of that venue in Enchanted. Mm-hmm. We gotta watch Enchanted.
Yeah, Enchanted is a good
I
one.
love that movie.
Yeah.
And on that note, I know that people love this movie, and I'm not trying to shit on this movie because I know that this is one of like the main things in the movie, but like a weird woman forcing a group dance to Thriller would not revive a weird corporate flop party.
I'd
It
be
would
like,
make people run away.
I am leaving, especially in New York.
Yes.
You know, in a fashion context, you know,
Yes.
they are I guess high end. They don't really seem that high end.
It's
though.
unclear.
But like, you know, let's say they're a high end magazine. Like,
Yeah.
that person is going to be shunned.
Yeah, like it's not chic.
No.
It's tacky.
Yeah. And which, of course, there's room for in the world. We don't, but I'm just, the
I
context.
just didn't buy it in this context.
Yeah, the context doesn't work.
Yes. I'm putting a pin in this in my brain, which is movies about fashion magazines in the early 2000s. We will come back to this sort of thing when we do Devil Wears Prada eventually.
Yeah.
Okay. We both were like dying when Maddie's girlfriend is like, we were just discussing the possibility of him joining me in the Windy City.
Yeah.
We were like, oh my God.
Maybe she moved there like 2 months ago. Like,
Yeah.
that's the vibe I got, is like she's probably from like the Midwest. Like,
Ohio. Yeah.
Not that Chicago's not in the Midwest. It is.
Yeah.
But, you know, she's not from a big city. And she moved there like 2 months ago to be a news anchor.
Yeah.
And now she's like somehow dating Mark Ruffalo's character. And then
Somehow.
And then she's like, the Windy City.
She's like, join me in the Windy
I was like, all right.
Yeah, so that was weird. When you find out that Maddie only has 2 weeks till his wedding, that's when you know.
Huge red flags.
Yes, and that's when you know that he's like self-sabotaging beyond comprehension and that he has like a huge like inferiority complex.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
No, like, if this movie wasn't a rom-com,
This would be like bleak.
it would be like a case study, like for like
Narcissism
yeah,
from Jenna.
yeah,
Yeah. And
And-
like codependency.
yeah,
Yeah.
and like that's what it is actually, but it's all under the lens of a rom-com. So our like simple minds are just like, Our
Or like give us the positive brain
like,
chemicals. Yeah.
Yep, play I Want to Dance with Somebody.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
like,
yeah.
yay.
Yeah.
But if you like took away all those accessories, it's just like,
It would actually be very like
be
Two
kinda
Slow
cool.
Dancers by Mitski, like sad.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it would be good.
It would probably be like really devastating.
Yeah. But like the film version, like the indie film version of this.
Yeah, the indie reboot we do in 20 years or something. Like, yeah, it would be sad.
We could all just cry together.
Yes, we could. Put a pin in that as well. Okay. when it's announced that they have to do the redesign of the magazine, and Jenna's like, let me make a fucking yearbook. Like, why is the class of 2004 shoot innovative or good? It looks kind of bad.
It looked kind of Kohl's catalog.
Yes, it did.
And like, I could see that working in this context, but like, I don't think she really knew. It's so hard because it was 2004. And so now, like, seeing where fashion and visuals are right now, what's in style, it's like, this is back.
Yeah.
All this stuff is currently back. I mean,
yeah,
in a huge way. So my brain's like a little confused.
Yeah, it's a little hard to evaluate all of it.
Yeah.
But, okay, like, trend cycles aside, her like, bulletin boards of the idea were not good looking.
Not the best, but
her pitch was good, though.
Exactly. I was going to say the pitch was good about, like, best friend's big sister.
Oh, yeah. Like, I wrote stuff down about that, too. We can come back to all that stuff, because I feel like that's part of, like, the deep part of this movie. Mm-hmm. Okay. I will say in general, I feel like really just two more things. I was really confused by, like, the wedding timeline with Maddie. Like, because it seemed like 2 weeks and then a day. I was like, wait. And then there was, like, that weird moment where they were like, it's winter now. But, like, it wasn't actually winter.
Just like a set.
It was like a fake out. I don't know. That was confusing to me. And just, like, my general thing here is, like, the way that this movie just, like, force feeds 80s nostalgia with, like, Thriller and Love is a Battlefield and Whitney and all that. Like, all those songs are great, and I'm not complaining. I kind of, like, begrudge 80s nostalgia, but I think that's just because we are younger millennials / right on the line between millennial and Gen Z. And, like, if I was 25, my age, when this movie came out, it would have been, like, the best shit I've ever seen in my life. And I give this movie its flowers for knowing that it made that impact for people that are, like, 10 years older than me.
Yeah. Like, our cousin Marissa, probably.
Yes. Yeah.
If you're listening, Marissa, hi.
Like, her demographic, for sure. Or, like, Brittany, even. My body's just making noises. Like, Brittany. Like, we have older cousins that are, like, 10 years older than us, like, 13 years older than us, and I feel like that this is their shit.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
That's why my brain was confused. Like, I didn't understand the timeline of when this movie was made, and I felt like older people liked it. So I think my brain when I was little was like, this movie's from the 80s.
Yeah, but it is not.
It's not at all. Not. Like, I was very much alive when this came out.
Yes.
I was like 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally. Is that true?
4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. I was 7.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, you pretty much covered everything for, like, worse, but of course we've got the classic nose job comments.
Oh yeah, I put that kind of under the more, like, problematic area.
But we've covered it so many times that it's like,
well, it's just very like, if you remember, like, at some point we've talked about the Tweevils from the Bratz, like, empire, and how there was this weird thing in, like, the early 2000s where, like, plastic surgery was, like, this weirdly universal punchline, and they use that a lot in this movie too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, like, it makes a little more sense in this movie. At least it's in, like, a somewhat proper setting for it, but, like, not really.
Yeah.
All right. Dated, problematic.
I have something. So there were, like, a couple little gay jokes sprinkled into this movie. The deepest one being at the very beginning, where someone, like, one of the guys on, like, the editorial team of the magazine asks, what's her name, the blonde girl? The best friend.
Couldn't tell you.
She, like, asks the blonde, or he asks the blonde girl if she'll, like, go on vacation with him this summer, and she's like, oh, you're not going to Fire Island
I'm
this
just on
year?
a date.
Oh, it's a date?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this guy's, like, asking her to, like, go out on a date with him, and she's like, oh, you're not going to Fire Island this summer? And it's like, if you don't know what Fire Island is, it's, like, the gay man destination of, like, the tri-state area, basically. So that was funny. But really,
I actually thought it was okay. I thought the gay jokes in general in this movie were
pretty tasteful.
not bad.
Well, and this is, I totally agree with you.
They weren't hateful.
Yeah, totally. But my question beyond that is, or just, like, a thing to think about beyond that is, like, I feel like so many movies of this era have explicitly gay male characters like Stanley Tucci in Devil Wears Prada, Damien in Mean Girls, the guys in this movie, like, and it's so interesting, like, how they're used in these movies because they are very much like the gay best friend archetype, but like,
yeah. Although this one, like, he's a boss.
Yeah. You know what I mean, though. Like, they're not central to the plot. Like, they could be there or not.
Yeah.
And I just feel like that would be super interesting as, like, a gay boy or, like, a boy that would grow up to be gay in this era to be like, oh, like, there's my person.
Like, they're there.
They're there, but they're, like, making jokes the whole time.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I just think it's interesting that the representation is the way that it is.
Or was the way that it was, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's like at that time, that was impressive, just that.
Yes.
So,
it's also just very, like, straight girl, gay man pairing. Like,
very,
which is, like, we love that pairing.
Very GBF.
Very GBF. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting to think about.
Yeah.
Just wanted to point it out. Okay, so now let's move into, I have my notable category, but it's also sort of just like my deep
just
category.
Deep takes and like, is it worthwhile or not? It's kind of like, for me, it's like wrapped up.
Yes. So
I have something.
Yeah, I just want to circle a couple things. Go ahead though. Well, since we're on video, though, just give me, like, 1 second. Okay.
I kind of agree with the guy who said that there's mixed messages in this movie.
Okay.
Because what is this movie telling you? It's trying, like, these types of movies where it's, like, future, past self, that sort of thing, they're usually trying to teach you a lesson. Like, there's a very overt lesson. Yeah. Usually.
Yeah.
But you look at this one and it's like, she became a shitty person promptly after being 13 or whatever. She finds out all the various ways in which she's become a shitty person, but look where that got her in life.
Right.
She was a shitty person, made all the wrong decisions, you know, maybe interpersonally, but she has her dream job. It's like sort of that, like, crushing people to get ahead type thing. Like Devil Wears Prada.
Right.
But, like, it's not really following through on that.
Yeah, I agree.
It's like, no, like, your life is literally perfect. Like, what else could you want? But it's not really showing that it's, like, shallow or empty.
Yeah.
Per se. Like,
yeah, like, in the parts where she's like, I don't have any real friends, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, how do you know that you don't have any real friends? Because you can't remember shit. So
and you don't even have, like, a phone. Like, there's no way for you to know.
Yeah, like, people can't just hit your line all the time. Or, like, they can, but, like, you don't even know how to pick up your phone.
You don't know the relationships.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what her relationships are.
Right.
So that is a little, like, half-baked.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I kind of feel like one thing that when I was watching this time around that kind of was rattling around in my brain is that, like, I feel like for me, this movie kind of brings out this question of, like, what is life actually about? Is it about, like, measurable public success where you have items and a nice apartment and, like, visible clout? Or is it about, like, being proud of who you are deep down and, like, being in love with, like, someone who makes you feel good? And, like, we'll get to Maddie in that sense, but I just feel like there is no clear answer, whether it's, like, pursuing, like, professional goals versus, like, really cultivating, like, your inner life. Like, what is the win? And that kind of made me think. And really the main point that I kind of came away with is, like, so, like, at the end when she's, like, sitting outside the house and she's, like, having her little emotional breakdown and being like, she's just tapping her heels together 3 times is what it is.
But there's no, like, cause for it.
Yeah, no, it's true. But
yeah,
really, to me, what kind of struck me about that is, like, as much as like we can sit in our lives and like want to know what the right decision is, like we're never gonna know what's actually the right thing. And like watching her in her adult state, but actually just a 13-year-old that doesn't know better, was like, it's like you just hold as I churn through this in my brain. I guess to me, it kind of seemed like the theme of the movie at the end of the day was like honoring your truth to the furthest extent that you can based off of what you know in that moment, which is literally just like your gut instinct.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Because a lot of times, like, maybe what your 13-year-old self wanted, like, isn't right.
I mean, it's probably not.
That's also an interesting thing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like in like motivational or self-help type contexts, like a lot of times there will be the sentiment of like, would your 13-year-old self be proud of you or whatever. It's like when I was 13, I certainly did not think about being 30. And I also thought, I didn't even think about being 20.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about being 18.
Yeah.
Like, we thought it was funny that they even chose 30.
Yeah, 30 is a funny age.
It's a good title. It's a good article name. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, but
when she was like, I wish I was 30.
Where's the 13-year-old that is like, I want to be 30?
Yeah, no.
Of all ages. Like, I'd be more like 16, like I want to drive, or like 18, 21.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be 30.
Yeah, definitely not. Wait, what did you say? You said something.
Before that, I was like the motivational stuff where it's like,
oh, yeah. Okay. So I feel like there is something also really interesting in this movie about like your inner child. And like, as you were saying, like, would your young self be proud of this? And it's like, there's no way for you to ever actually be able to look back and objectively know what you wanted unless you have like really intense journals or something. Like, it's just an interesting concept to try to evaluate your current life based off of what you would have wanted when you were younger.
Yeah.
And like, this is something that like I've literally like written a play about. Like, it's something I've thought about a lot. And it's interesting because it just shows that this movie is also an influence. Mm-hmm. But like, all you can do is just be the best person you can and like not sell yourself out.
Yeah, because there is some truth to it as far as like, I mean, 13 is almost a little old because so many things have influenced you by then.
Yeah.
And like, you're not really, I mean, you're basically, as soon as you have like consciousness and understanding, like self-awareness.
Yeah.
You are changed.
Yeah.
Like, you are affected by your surroundings. You're not just literally you with nothing.
Yeah.
Blank slate.
With no condiments.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't, like, you'll just never have
really
the perspective
what you should
on
be
it.
listening to is like what like your 7-year-old self
Yeah,
would
like
want.
what was your
Yeah.
And it's not about like maybe career ambitions or something. It's just
like what would be cool.
Yeah, it might not even be like material things or jobs or anything like that, because you don't think about that stuff when you're 7. It's just like how were you then?
Yeah.
As a person, like how did you operate?
Yeah.
That's what is interesting to think about as an adult, not like who your crush was or some shit.
I have another thing that I want to bring up, which is it has to do with Maddie. So, okay, I think we can all agree that adult Maddie is like a nightmare person.
Yeah.
He is like, he literally like leads in talking about his romantic relationships with being like, yeah, I haven't genuinely felt love or excitement since I was like
in high school,
13 or like whatever, in high school. So that felt like a red flag to me. But on top of that, so like one thing at the end that really struck me is like when she's like walking out of the house holding the house that Maddie made her, and it's like she's holding her dreams in her arms and like, wow, like the symbolism. But then you think about it and you're like, okay, she's always been boy crazy, and she literally had this dream house made for her by a boy who decided that these were the things that she liked. And like, were some of them accurate? Yeah, but like she didn't make it for herself.
Yeah.
A man was like here's what I have decided that you like, and this is how I project onto your interests. Let me literally hand you this like physical manifestation of it. And I was just kind of like,
It's not hitting.
this
for
is
me.
messy.
Yeah, it's super messy. I think it's like interesting to be in a movie. It's just the problem is that I know there's so many like millions of people who, but it's not really, I don't know. It's hard because it's part of me is like, it's not a problem. Like, we're okay.
Yeah.
But if you watched this movie with a different framing, a different context, like, it's literally a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's a huge, huge nightmare.
It's really upsetting. Parts of it are really upsetting. And it's like, okay, if you look at this movie and you're like, this whole thing is like the fever dream of like a 13-year-old, you're like, yes. But a lot of people watch it and they don't view it that way.
No, they view it as like a rom-com with Jennifer Garner and Mark Ruffalo.
Right.
Which that's not what it is.
Yeah.
I don't think that's what it is at all.
Yeah.
Not one part of my soul thought, "Oh, that's cute." And does that make me a cold-hearted bitch?
A cold-hearted
Bitch. I don't care because it's not cute.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. It's not. She knew what kind of person he was after, he kissed her on that playground thing. She knew he had a wedding in 2 weeks. All this stuff happened. She knew that. A 13-year-old knows what weddings are,
Yes.
understands loyalty, that
Yes.
sort of thing.
Yes. Especially a 13-year-old that's like binge reading Poise magazine. Like she knows.
Like she knows what's between right and wrong.
Yeah.
You saw what kind of person Maddie was as an adult. Flashback to being 13 after learning all these things she's learned while being 30. Decides to like attack and kiss him, which was weird.
Yeah.
And then decides to like date him for the next 15 years. To get to that point, and then it cuts to them at the wedding. Like the whole ending, I was like, whoa.
Yeah, but you know what though? I was kind of thinking like at that very, very last shot when it's like her pink suburban house and she's like with him and they're like sitting on the couch being all cute like in the front yard. I was like, you know what though? Like in terms of like your fantasies when you are 13, 14, like domestic functionality is like all that you can aspire for because you don't know better.
Yeah.
So it's like even just like living with someone and
that's
having
true.
it go well. It's like, again, if you're looking at it through the framework of this is a 13-year-old,
Yeah.
it totally tracks and you're like, yes.
Yeah.
But
it's like, is that,
not.
I just don't know that it's that smart. Like, is it that smart? Is it that intentional?
no.
I don't know. It would, if it is, like, that's cool. But I don't think the masses look at it that way.
No.
Just because it's hard to.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that is literally not a 13-year-old. That is Jennifer Garner.
Yeah. Also, just Maddie's a fuck ass. Like, I
Yeah.
don't want to date Maddie.
I don't.
He was such a cute kid, though. Mm-hmm. Like, a very, like, nice boy.
He got really.
Like, jaded and weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He seems like, this is pre-YouTube, but he seems like 3 YouTube rabbit hole binges away from like being an incel.
Yes, I totally agree with you.
But because he like had a career and like a girlfriend in high school, he like was able to swerve from that. He was able to avoid it.
Yeah.
But and one more thing. I have like one more point.
Please.
Which is that, okay, compare to Big in the scene where we have adult Tom Hanks, who is inside a child, dating a woman who is his age or whatever. She's an adult woman. It's really confusing to explain that. You know how there's that whole thing of like young, girls progress faster like mentally than boys.
Yeah.
So they're like light years ahead when they're the same age.
Yes.
When you're looking at that Tom Hanks scene versus this Jennifer Garner, Mark Ruffalo situation where they're in the room right before the wedding happens.
Yeah.
It's like, that Jennifer Garner's 13 inside and Mark Ruffalo is 30. And yet it seems like they're like operating on the same field. Like you don't get that like deep cringe that you do when you watch Big. And it's just something to watch out for. I'm like, that's just, I I don't. I think
It doesn't sit right with
it doesn't
you.
sit right with me because it didn't hit me, and like we are ingrained to be okay with like older man, younger woman, more so than the opposite.
Yeah, definitely.
By a long shot.
Yes.
So yeah, it just strikes you differently.
Yeah.
In this society.
We live in a society. So, even with all these things said, like, I don't not like this movie.
Same.
But
It made us think a lot of things.
It did make us think a lot of things, but I don't love it.
No.
I think it's fine.
I think it's all right.
I think that if we had grown up watching it, we would feel much differently about it.
Yeah. Especially if it had been in the minivan.
Girl.
It'd be over.
If it had been in that Apple Orchard box with all the other DVDs, who knows? Maybe this poster would have been 13 going on 30. But I doubt it because there's a mermaid in this one.
Yeah. It needed the fantastical element.
Yeah. I feel like we're going to piss everyone off.
It's really not personal, guys. It's just like, okay, if you love this movie from day one, like being a child and everything, I kind of would recommend like trying to watch it with like the
fresh eyes
of somebody who's not watching a rom-com. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of fun to do that. Maybe that just ruins it. If that ruins it for you, then like don't do it.
Yeah.
But
so that's what we thought about 13 going on 30.
Still love Jennifer Garner. Still had some really fun moments watching it with the music.
She's iconic in this
and the
movie.
fashion, and
she's iconic.
It's a New York City 2004 time capsule.
It's great.
There's reasons to love it, but when you really get down to the nitty gritty, it's like, what is actually going on?
Yeah, it's a bizarre story.
Yeah.
But thank you to everyone who suggested that we do this movie, and we enjoyed it, and we took so many notes. We thought so many things.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we have 2 more episodes of this season. Is that true? Or 3?
2.
Okay. So they will all be together, though.
Maybe. Probably.
Hopefully.
At least one of them will be.
At least one of them will be. The one with our mother.
Yes.
So get ready for that one. And until then, we hope you have a sweet, sweet evening, morning, afternoon, whatever time it is where you are. It's night. It's extreme night for us
the dead
here.
of night.
Yeah. But until then,
stay 30, flirty, and thriving.
Yes.
So long.
Bye.
You can find more from us at evergreenpodcast.com/sleepover-cinema and keep up with our latest creative projects at twopinkpictures.com. If you want to watch our show as well as listen, we're on YouTube too. Search Sleepover Cinema or go to the link tree in our Instagram bio. We're on Instagram and Twitter at twopinkpictures and would love to hear from you there. We're also on TikTok at Sleepover Cinema, and that's really where the party is at.
And if you like the show, if it brings back evocative memories of childhood or tweendom or babysitting, share the episode with a few friends. Leave us an iTunes review telling us what movie you'd like to see us cover next, and leave us a review if you like the show, and if you don't. Sleepover Cinema is a production of Evergreen Podcasts, produced, edited, and engineered by us, Hannah and Audrey Leach. Sleepover Cinema is mixed by Sean Rule Hoffman with theme music by Josh Perlman Hall. Special thanks to executive producers Michael D'Aloia and David Moss. We'll chat again soon.